December 7th, 1941. Pearl Harbor, America at war. Every man faced choice: serve or stay, fight or avoid, risk or survive. Hollywood had answers for its stars: essential industry, morale boosting, could serve without danger, could contribute without sacrifice, could avoid combat legitimately, honorably, patriotically even. Most stars took that path, made training films, sold war bonds, entertained troops from safety, no shame in it, no dishonor, practical, smart, safe. Jimmy Stewart was biggest star in Hollywood, Academy Award winner, million-dollar contracts, future unlimited. He could have stayed, should have stayed. Everyone expected him to stay. He chose differently, chose danger, chose combat, chose to risk everything, but first he had to convince military to let him. They said no. This is episode 2, The Fight to Fight, the star who refused safety. Pearl Harbor news hit Hollywood like bomb. Studios stopped production. Actors gathered around radios, listened to reports. Destruction, death, war declared. Everything changed instantly. America was fighting. Question was, who would go? Who would serve? Who would risk life for country? Hollywood faced reckoning. Industry built on illusion, on make-believe, on pretty faces and manufactured emotions. Now real war demanded real sacrifice. Studios panicked. Stars were assets, investments, products. Losing them to war meant losing millions, losing profits, losing audiences. Studio heads called emergency meetings, developed strategies, how to protect stars, how to keep them safe, how to appear patriotic without actually sacrificing anything valuable. Answer was simple: essential industry designation. Entertainment was crucial for morale. Movies kept spirits up. Stars inspired troops. Hollywood could serve by staying exactly where it was, making films, providing escapism, giving Americans reason to smile during dark times. It was perfect solution. Stars could claim they were serving, could feel patriotic, could avoid guilt, while staying completely safe, making money, advancing careers. It was win for everyone. Logical, practical, smart. Most stars embraced it gladly. But Jimmy Stewart was different. Family tradition demanded more. Father served Spanish-American War. Grandfather served Civil War. Stewart, men fought when country called. Was not just tradition, was obligation, was duty passed down through generations. Duty was not abstract concept, was concrete reality, was expectation, was identity. Stewart men served. Jimmy was Stewart man, therefore Jimmy would serve. Logic was simple, unavoidable, not debatable. He told MGM he was enlisting. Studio heads were shocked, tried to dissuade him, reminded him of contracts, of obligations, of career, of money, of everything he would risk. Reminded him he could serve through movies, could do more good entertaining troops than carrying rifle, could contribute without danger. Jimmy listened politely, thanked them for concern, enlisted anyway. Studio heads were furious, then terrified. Losing biggest star to war was disaster, financial disaster, but could not stop him, could not force him, could only watch their investment walk away toward danger. But enlisting was not simple. Military had requirements, standards, rules. Jimmy Stewart did not meet them. January 1942. Jimmy reported to Army Air Corps Recruitment Office, Los Angeles, filled out paperwork, answered questions, submitted to physical examination, height, weight, vision, hearing, everything measured, everything evaluated, everything compared to standards. Jimmy was 33 years old, tall, 6'3", but thin, very thin, always had been, high metabolism, never gained weight easily. Physical exam revealed problem. Jimmy weighed 138 pounds. Minimum requirement for his height was 143 pounds. 5 pounds short, 5 pounds too light, failed physical. Rejected, recruiter explained. Standards existed for reason. Soldiers needed physical strength, needed endurance, needed body mass to survive training, to carry equipment, to endure combat conditions. Underweight men broke down, got sick, could not perform. Jimmy understood logic, did not accept conclusion, asked if he could retest. Recruiter said yes, but would need to meet weight requirement. Gain 5 pounds, then come back. Jimmy left recruitment office determined 5 pounds. Just 5 pounds seemed simple. Was not. Jimmy had been thin entire life. Tried gaining weight before. Never worked. Metabolism burned everything. Hollywood costume departments always struggled to make him look substantial on camera, used padding, used tricks, but could not fake weight for military physical. This was real. This mattered. This was obstacle between Jimmy and service, between duty and fulfillment, between expectation and reality. Had to find way, had to gain weight, had to meet standard. Failure was not option. He hired nutritionist, developed eating plan. 6 meals per day, high calorie, high protein, massive portions. Jimmy forced himself to eat. Ate when not hungry. Ate until uncomfortable. Ate constantly. Drank weight gain shakes. Consumed thousands of extra calories daily. Body resisted. Metabolism fought back. Weight came slowly, ounce by ounce, pound by pound. Took weeks, took discipline, took determination. But Jimmy kept eating, kept forcing, kept gaining. Because service required it, because duty demanded it, because Stewart men served and 5 pounds would not stop him. Meanwhile, other actors enlisted, got accepted, started training. Gable joined Army Air Forces, did training films, safe assignment, appropriate for star. Fonda joined Navy, did intelligence work, contributed without combat. Autry became transport pilot, flew supplies, not combat missions. All served honorably, all contributed significantly, all stayed relatively safe, all made smart choices. Jimmy watched them, respected them, but wanted something different, wanted combat, wanted to actually fight. Not just support, not just contribute. Fight, really fight against real enemy with real risk. That was service, that was duty, that was what Stewart men did. 6 weeks later, Jimmy returned to recruitment office, 5 pounds heavier, met minimum requirement, got accepted. But acceptance was just beginning. Military offered Jimmy options. Officers noticed his fame, his value, his potential for morale. He could do training films, could travel training bases, could inspire recruits, could make instructional movies, could use acting skills for military benefit, safe assignments, meaningful contributions, appropriate use of celebrity. Everyone suggested this path. Everyone expected this choice, made perfect sense. Why waste star on dangerous duty? Why risk valuable asset? Why throw away propaganda tool? Jimmy could serve effectively without danger, could contribute significantly without risk. Was smart solution? Logical solution? Safe solution? Jimmy refused, wanted combat duty, wanted to fly missions, wanted to fight. Officers were puzzled, tried to understand. Star wanting danger, wanting to risk $1 million face, wanting to potentially die. Made no sense. They pressed him, explained reasonably. He could do more good-making films than flying planes, could reach millions through movies, could inspire entire nation. One actor making training films served country better than one pilot flying missions. Logic was sound. Argument was valid. Jimmy listened, understood, still refused. He wanted Army Air Forces, wanted bombers specifically. Most dangerous assignment available. Bomber crews had highest casualty rates. Flew into enemy territory, faced fighter planes, faced anti-aircraft fire, faced mechanical failures, faced weather. Many did not return. Statistics were grim. Survival rates were low. Everyone knew risks. Everyone understood danger. Still, Jimmy chose bombers, not fighters, not transport. Bombers, heavy bombers, strategic bombing missions over Germany, deep into enemy territory, maximum danger, maximum risk. Officers asked why. Jimmy gave simple answer: where he could be most useful, where need was greatest, where duty called, not where he would be safest, where he would matter most. Decision revealed character, revealed values, revealed who Jimmy Stewart really was beneath fame, beneath success, beneath Hollywood polish. He was hardware store owner's son, small-town Pennsylvania values, service over self, duty over comfort, country over career. These were not slogans, were principles, were foundation, were non-negotiable. $1 million contracts meant nothing compared to service. Oscar meant nothing compared to duty. Fame meant nothing compared to contribution. This was not performance, not acting, not image management. Was real, was genuine. Was Jimmy Stewart stripped of everything Hollywood and revealed as man his father raised him to be. Military accepted his choice, sent him to flight school. Moffett Field, California, initial training. Jimmy arrived with other cadets, young men, teenagers mostly, early 20s. Jimmy was 34, oldest in class by far. Instructors called him Gramps. Cadets were respectful but amused. Hollywood star learning alongside kids, famous actor doing push-ups with teenagers, Oscar winner studying same textbooks as high school graduates. Surreal, humbling, necessary. Jimmy did not demand special treatment, did not want special treatment, wanted to be regular soldier, regular cadet, regular student, wanted to earn everything, prove everything, show everyone he deserved to be there. But being regular soldier was harder than being movie star, much harder. Flight school was brutal, physically brutal, mentally brutal, emotionally brutal. Wake up 0500, physical training, running, calisthenics, obstacle courses. Jimmy was 34. Body did not recover like 20-year-old bodies. Muscles ached. Joints hurt. Everything was harder. Everything took longer. But he kept up, refused to quit, refused to complain, refused to be weak link. Other cadets respected that. Stopped seeing movie star, started seeing soldier, started seeing dedication, started seeing man who wanted to belong. Classroom work was intense, navigation, meteorology, aircraft systems, radio procedures, endless information, endless studying, endless testing. Jimmy studied constantly, late into night, early in morning, between training, during breaks. He had not been student in years, had been actor, had been star, had been man people catered to. Now was student again, competing with sharp young minds, men fresh from college, men who studied easily. Jimmy worked twice as hard, memorized everything, mastered every subject. Because failing meant dismissal, meant no service, meant duty unfulfilled, could not allow that, would not allow that. Flight training was terrifying. Jimmy was actor, spent career standing still, hitting marks, saying lines. Now was learning to fly massive aircraft, learning to control tons of metal and fuel and bombs, learning to trust instruments, trust training, trust himself. First flights were nerve-wracking. Instructors yelled, criticized, demanded perfection. Jimmy was not natural pilot, was adequate, competent, not gifted, but determined. Practiced constantly, flew every available hour, studied manuals obsessively, talked to experienced pilots, learned everything possible because just adequate was not enough. Lives would depend on his skills. Crews would trust his judgment. Could not be weak pilot. Had to be good pilot. Great pilot. Whatever it took. Other cadets washed out. Failed tests. Failed flight checks. Failed physically. Failed mentally. Got sent home. Got assigned other duties. Got eliminated. Jimmy watched them go. Understood it could be him. One mistake. One failure. One bad day could end it all. Pressure was enormous. Stakes were ultimate. This was not movie where mistakes could be fixed in editing. This was real. This was military. This was training for combat where mistakes meant death. Jimmy felt pressure constantly, never relaxed, never assumed success, never stopped working, driven by duty, by obligation, by need to prove himself, to prove he belonged, to prove he was not just celebrity playing soldier, was real soldier, capable, reliable, worthy. Months passed, training continued, Jimmy progressed, earned wings, became rated pilot, promoted to second lieutenant, then first lieutenant, then captain, rose through ranks based on performance, based on leadership, based on competence, not based on fame. Military did not care about Oscars, cared about ability, about reliability, about whether man could do job. Jimmy proved he could, proved it repeatedly, proved it conclusively, earned respect, earned trust, earned right to serve, finally. Then came assignment, where he would serve, what he would fly, what missions he would face. This was moment everything led toward. 1943. Jimmy completed training, multiple ratings, qualified on several aircraft types, B-17 Flying Fortress, B-24 Liberator, heavy bombers, strategic bombing platforms, engines of war. He was ready to fight, ready to serve, ready to face whatever came. Assignment orders came. 8th Air Force, England, Strategic Bombing Command, deep raids into Germany, most dangerous missions, highest casualties. Exactly what Jimmy chose. Exactly what he wanted, exactly what duty demanded. But military had other ideas. Looked at Jimmy's age, 35 now, looked at his skills, looked at his leadership ability, looked at his maturity, decided he was more valuable as instructor than as combat pilot. Wanted to keep him in United States, teaching new pilots, training next generation, contributing without risk, safe assignment, logical assignment. Jimmy protested, argued, requested combat duty, demanded combat duty. Military resisted. Instructor was crucial role, was important contribution, was where he was needed. Jimmy insisted. He had not spent year training to teach, had trained to fight, had trained to serve in combat, had trained to face enemy. Military reluctantly agreed, with conditions, would send him to England, but operations duty, not combat duty, staff work, planning, coordination, supporting combat crews, not flying missions, not yet. Jimmy accepted, knew was compromise, knew was not what he wanted, but was step toward combat, was path to mission, was getting closer, would prove himself in operations, would demonstrate capability, would earn way into cockpit, into combat, into real service, patience, determination, persistence. These were tools. These were weapons. These would get him where he needed to be. November 1943. Jimmy shipped out to England. Tibbenham. 445th Bombardment Group, Heavy Bomber Squadron, B-24 Liberators, young crews, young men, 19, 20, 21 years old, flying into hell regularly, facing death repeatedly, coming back or not, luck determining everything. Jimmy arrived as operations officer, ground duty, planning missions, briefing crews, coordinating logistics, vital work, important work, but not combat, not flying, not facing danger, not really serving, not as he understood service, not as duty demanded. He watched crews take off, watched them return, watched them not return, empty bunks, missing faces, boys who left that morning and never came back, killed over Germany, killed over France, killed over occupied Europe, died following orders Jimmy helped write, died on missions Jimmy helped plan. Young men, brave men, American men, dying while Jimmy stayed safe on ground. Survivors came back shaking, came back traumatized, came back wounded, told stories about flak, about fighters, about planes exploding, about friends dying, about fear, about terror, about somehow surviving. They respected Jimmy, trusted him, but knew he did not understand, could not understand, had not been there, had not faced it, was operations officer, was planner, was not one of them. Not really. That separation, that difference, that barrier between ground officer and combat crew, Jimmy could not accept it, could not live with it, could not lead men into danger he had not faced. Jimmy requested permission to fly missions. Commanders refused. Too valuable, too old, too much risk for no benefit. Operations officers did not fly combat, did not need to fly combat, contributed better from ground. Jimmy persisted, argued, explained, could not lead without understanding, could not plan without experiencing, could not send men into danger without sharing danger. Commanders were unmoved, rules were rules, policy was policy. Jimmy was ground officer, would remain ground officer. End of discussion. But Jimmy was persistent, was stubborn, was driven by duty, by honor, by need to truly serve. He went around commanders, went to higher command, made case, explained reasoning, explained family tradition, explained obligation to lead from front, explained why he had to fly, Higher commanders listened, understood, saw sincerity, saw determination, saw a man driven by principles, not glory, approved his request. With restrictions, could fly limited missions, could not command aircraft, could fly as co-pilot, could observe, could experience, could understand, but would be protected, would be managed, would be limited. Jimmy accepted, was not everything, was not full combat duty, but was something, was flying, was missions, was facing danger, was serving, really serving. Finally, first mission. January 1944, target Brunswick, Germany, industrial complex, deep in enemy territory, long flight, maximum danger. Jimmy reported for briefing. Suited up. Climbed into B-24. Took co-pilot seat. Young pilot, 22 years old, nervous, excited. Honored to fly with Captain Stewart, with Hollywood star. Jimmy told him, forget the star. Just co-pilot today, just crew member, just another man going to war. Engines started, plane taxied, took off. Formation formed, hundreds of bombers, all heading east, into Germany, into danger, into unknown. Jimmy watched England disappear below, watched Channel pass beneath, watched French coast approach, watched German border cross, deep into enemy territory now, deep into danger. Anti-aircraft fire started, black puffs, explosions, flak, deadly, random, unavoidable. Plane shook, shrapnel hit, metal rang, men flinched. Jimmy felt fear, real fear, not acted fear, not pretend fear, real terror of dying, of being hit, of plane exploding, of falling. This was real. This was combat. This was what every mission faced, what young men faced repeatedly, what some did not survive. He understood now, understood completely, understood absolutely. Formation reached target. Bomb bay doors opened, bombs released, thousands of pounds of explosives falling, destroying, killing, war from above, industrial targets, military targets, but people died. Germans died, enemy died, but people, human beings. Jimmy thought about that, about bombs he helped deliver, about destruction he participated in, about deaths he caused. Was not murder, was war, was necessary, was duty, but was heavy, was burden, was reality, was cost. Return flight was long, tense, more flak, more danger. Fighters appeared, German fighters, attacking formation, guns fired, tracers flew, planes fell, bombers fell, fighters fell, men died, in seconds, in instant, alive then gone. Jimmy watched, understood mortality, understood luck, understood why crews looked haunted, why survivors seemed older, why war-aged men beyond years, because this terror, this randomness, this violence, this death, this was what they faced, mission after mission, week after week, until completed tour, or died trying. Formation returned to England, landed. Jimmy climbed out. Legs shaking, hands shaking, alive, grateful, changed. One mission, one flight, one experience. Now understood, now knew, now was connected to crews, to danger, to war. Was not just planning anymore, was participant, was combatant, was really serving. Finally, truly, completely. Commanders allowed more missions. Jimmy flew repeatedly, flew often, became experienced, became tested, became combat veteran. Not just operations officer, was combat officer, was leader who knew, who understood, who had been there. Crews respected that, trusted that, followed that. Not because he was movie star, because he was one of them, because he shared danger, because he served, really served, in way that mattered, in way that counted, in way that honored duty, honored family, honored country, honored himself. Next episode, 20 missions over Nazi Germany. What Jimmy Stewart saw that Hollywood never knew. What changed him forever, what made him different, what the war took, what courage really cost, and why the man who returned was not the man who left.